In the vast, unforgiving expanse of Siberia, where the mercury plunges to depths that test the very limits of life, winter arrives not as a season, but as a relentless force. Here, in the remote taiga of Yakutia, temperatures can drop to -50 degrees Celsius, turning the air into a crystalline shroud that bites at exposed skin and freezes breath mid-exhalation. The landscape stretches endlessly, a sea of snow-blanketed forests and frozen rivers, where the sun hangs low on the horizon, casting long shadows that seem to whisper of ancient hardships. It is a place where humanity clings to existence through generations of quiet determination, bound to the rhythms of nature's harshest symphony. Amid this frozen wilderness lives an 80-year-old woman named Maria Ivanovna, a Yakut elder whose life has been etched by the cold like frost on a window pane. Her small wooden izba, a traditional log cabin, stands isolated on the edge of a sparse village, its chimney puffing faint smoke into the pale sky. Maria has outlived her husband and children, her days now a solitary ritual of survival, tending to her reindeer herd and gathering what the land provides. Yet, in this isolation, she embodies the enduring spirit of her people, the Saka, who have called this icy realm home for centuries. Today, as a blizzard gathers on the horizon, darkening the afternoon with swirling snow, Maria steps into the storm, unaware that fate will draw her into an act of compassion that echoes the primal bonds between all living things in this brutal world. The wind howls like a distant wolf pack as Maria bundles herself in layers of fur. Reindeer hide sewn by her own hands, passed down from her grandmother. Her face, weathered and lined like the bark of an ancient larch tree, peers out from beneath a thick woolen scarf. She moves with the deliberate slowness of age, each step crunching through the fresh powder that has already blanketed the ground. The village, a cluster of a dozen homes huddled against the forest, fades behind her as she ventures toward the riverbank, where she checks her traps for fish or small game. In Siberia, every outing is a gamble. The cold does not forgive lapses in preparation. Maria knows this intimately. Her bones ache with the memory of past winters, when blizzards claimed lives and left families to mourn in silence. As the storm intensifies, visibility shrinks to mere meters, the world reduced to a white void punctuated by the skeletal outlines of trees. Maria pauses, her breath forming clouds that dissipate into the gale. She recalls the stories of her youth, told around flickering oil lamps, tales of nomads who braved the taiga, guided by the stars and the calls of ravens. The Yakut people have long revered the land's spirits, offering small rituals to appease the cold. A sprinkle of tea into the fire, a whispered prayer to the wind. Maria murmurs one now, her voice lost in the roar as she presses on. The temperature has fallen further, the air so sharp it stings her lungs. Yet, there is a quiet beauty in this desolation. The way snowflakes dance in eddies, the muffled hush that envelops everything, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Deeper into the forest, Maria's path leads her along a frozen stream, its surface a glassy mirror cracked by the weight of accumulating snow. She stops to adjust her mittens, the fur matted with ice, when a faint sound pierces the storm's din, a weak, pitiful whine, barely audible over the wind. Curiosity, mingled with concern, draws her forward. There, huddled against a snowdrift beneath the overhang of a fallen pine, she spots a shape, a mother dog, her coat encrusted with frost, curled protectively around a litter of newborn puppies. The animal's eyes, dull with exhaustion, meet Maria's, conveying a silent plea. The pups, no more than a few days old, squirm blindly against their mother's side, their tiny bodies trembling in the sub-zero chill. How they came to be here, perhaps abandoned by hunters or strayed from a distant camp, remains a mystery. But in this moment, their survival hangs by a thread. Maria kneels slowly, her knees protesting against the cold ground. She extends a gloved hand, murmuring soft words in Yakut, the language of her ancestors. "Poor ones," she whispers, "lost in the white death." The mother dog, a hardy Siberian breed with thick fur now thinned by hardship, does not growl or flee. Instead, she lifts her head weakly, as if recognizing a kindred spirit in this elderly woman who has faced her own share of losses. Maria assesses the scene with the practiced eye of someone who has nursed animals through countless winters. The puppies, perhaps 6 in number, are barely moving, their whimpers growing fainter. The blizzard rages on, piling snow around them, threatening to bury this fragile family alive. In Siberia, such discoveries are not uncommon. Stray dogs often roam the fringes of human settlements, scavenging in the shadows of survival. But this one tugs at Maria's heart, reminding her of her own solitude. With resolve born of necessity, Maria begins the rescue. She removes her outer shawl, a heavy woolen wrap, and gently scoops the puppies into its folds, cradling them against her chest for warmth. The mother dog watches, her tail giving a feeble wag. Maria coaxes her to stand, looping a makeshift leash from a strip of hide around the animal's neck. The journey back to her izba will be arduous. The storm has worsened, winds whipping snow into horizontal sheets that obscure all landmarks. Each step is a battle against the elements, Maria's frail frame bent against the gusts. She thinks of her late husband, Ivan, who once pulled her from a similar drift during a hunt gone wrong. "We endure together," he would say, his voice steady like the roots of a tundra shrub. Now, alone but unyielding, Maria presses forward, the weight of the bundled pups a reminder of life's fragile persistence. The path home blurs into an endless white labyrinth. Maria's breath comes in labored gasps, the cold seeping through her layers like icy fingers. She pauses at intervals, rubbing the puppies through the shawl to stimulate their circulation, whispering encouragements to the mother dog trudging beside her. The animal, weakened by birth and exposure, stumbles occasionally, but Maria urges her on with gentle tugs. In these moments of stillness, the vastness of Siberia envelops them. The silence, broken only by the wind's mournful keen, the distant crack of ice on the river. Maria reflects on the interconnectedness of all beings here. Humans, animals, and the land itself form a delicate web. Where one thread's break can unravel many. Her people have long shared their hearths with dogs, companions in herding reindeer, and guarding against wolves. This rescue, then, is not just mercy, it is a continuation of that ancient pact. As they near the village, the storm reaches its peak, visibility reduced to arm's length. Maria's izba emerges like a phantom from the swirl, its outline faint but familiar. Inside, the warmth from her stove greets them like an old friend. She lays the puppies on a bed of straw near the fire, their tiny forms beginning to stir as heat revives them. The mother dog collapses beside them, licking each one with renewed vigor. Maria brews a pot of broth from dried meat, feeding it to the exhausted animal in small spoonfuls. The room fills with the soft sounds of life returning. Pups nursing, the crackle of flames, the wind battering the walls outside. For Maria, this act brings a quiet joy, a spark in the long winter night. She sits by the hearth, her hands warmed by a mug of tea, watching the family she has saved. But the rescue is far from over. In the days that follow, Maria tends to her new charges with unwavering dedication. The puppies, blind and helpless, require constant care, warming bottles of milk from her goat, protecting them from drafts that sneak through the cabin's cracks. The mother dog, whom Maria names Snezhka for her snow-white patches, regains strength slowly, her eyes brightening with gratitude. Maria integrates them into her routine. Mornings spent chopping wood, afternoons checking snares, evenings sharing stories aloud, as if to an audience. In the old times, she tells them softly, dogs were our brothers, pulling sleds across the ice, warning of bears in the night. Her voice, though frail, carries the weight of cultural memory, passed down through oral traditions that bind the Yakut to their heritage. The village, though small, takes notice. Neighbors, bundled against the cold, visit Maria's izba, bringing gifts of fish or fur. An elder named Sergei, a reindeer herder with a beard frosted white, shares a tale of his own. Once, I found a wolf pup in the snow, raised it, and it saved my life from a poacher. They nod in understanding. In Siberia, such bonds are lifelines. Maria's act inspires quiet conversations around stoves, reminders that compassion thrives even in desolation. Yet challenges persist. The blizzard's aftermath brings deeper freezes, and Maria must venture out daily for supplies, leaving Snezhka to guard the pups. One evening, as twilight paints the sky in hues of lavender, a pack of wolves howls nearby, their calls echoing through the trees. Maria barricades the door, her rifle at the ready, the dogs huddling close. Weeks turn into months, the long Siberian winter unfolding like a slow river current. Maria's days revolve around the growing family. The puppies open their eyes, revealing curious gazes that explore the izba's corners. Snezhka, now robust, accompanies Maria on short walks, her loyalty a silent testament to the rescue. Maria teaches them basic commands in Yakut, her patience infinite. Amid this, she confronts her own frailties, aches in her joints from years of labor, the loneliness that creeps in like frost. But the animals provide companionship, filling the void left by her family's passing. She thinks of her daughter, lost to illness a decade ago, and sees echoes in the pup's playful antics. In this harsh land, where death is a constant shadow, nurturing life becomes an act of quiet rebellion. Cultural threads weave through Maria's narrative. The Yakut, descendants of Turkic nomads, have adapted to the extreme through ingenuity. Insulated boots called unti, diets rich in fatty meats to combat the cold, and spiritual beliefs in animism, where every creature holds a soul. Maria performs small rituals, offering milk to the fire spirit, tying ribbons on sacred trees for protection. These practices, handed down from elders, sustain her. One crisp morning, she takes Snezhka and the pups to a nearby larch grove, the trees standing sentinel like ancient guardians. Here, she says, we honor the land that gives and takes. The dogs romp in the snow, their energy a contrast to the stillness, embodying the cycle of renewal. As spring's first hints appear, drips from icicles, longer days, tensions build. A massive thaw threatens flooding, and Maria must prepare. But the true climax comes during a late-season storm, fiercer than the first. Winds howl, shaking the izba, as Maria secures her reindeer in the barn. Returning, she finds Snezhka agitated, pacing by the door. Outside, in the blinding white, a pup has wandered off, lured by some scent. Panic grips Maria. At her age, searching alone is perilous. Yet she dons her furs, lantern in hand, Snezhka at her side. The storm engulfs them, snow stinging like needles. Snezhka leads, her nose to the ground, barking through the gale. Hours pass in agonizing slowness. Maria's strength wanes, the cold sapping her resolve. Visions of past losses flicker. Her husband's frozen form after a hunting accident, her child's fevered brow. But Snezhka presses on, unyielding. At last, a faint yelp guides them to the pup, buried in a drift, barely alive. Maria digs frantically, her hands numb, pulling the tiny body free. Cradling it, they stagger back, the wind a merciless adversary. Inside, by the fire, Maria revives the pup with warmth and milk, tears freezing on her cheeks. This moment of triumph, forged in risk, cements the bond, human and animal, united against the Arctic's fury. With the crisis averted, peace returns. The puppies grow strong, playful shadows darting across the floor. Snezhka becomes Maria's steadfast companion, sharing the burden of daily tasks. The village celebrates quietly, a communal meal where stories are exchanged. Maria's rescue woven into local lore. She reflects on the emotional weight, isolation tempered by connection, legacy preserved through simple acts. In Siberia, endurance is not merely physical, it is the soul's quiet persistence, a dance with nature's indifference. As the sun climbs higher, melting the snow into rivulets that feed the awakening rivers, Maria stands outside her izba, watching Snezhka and the pups explore the thawing ground. The taiga stirs with life, birds returning, buds swelling on branches. Yet the cold's lessons linger, a reminder of beauty intertwined with brutality. In this world's coldest embrace, where every breath is a victory, Maria's story illuminates the profound resilience of the human spirit, echoed in the animals she saved. In the heart of Siberia's frozen vastness, survival is not a battle won once, but a harmonious rhythm with the wild, a testament to the enduring light within all who face the dark.